We hear a lot about psychedelic-assisted therapy, but 3 out of 4 people who choose to consume psychedelics do so at home or in nature with friends or loved ones. I'm April, founder of Set, an integration platform to help you get the most out of your psychedelic experiences. The podcast episode you're about to listen to may reference one of my previous shows, The High Guide or How to Do the Pot, because I've been a trusted source in cannabis and psychedelics since 2015. I invite you to visit getsetset.com and sign up for our newsletter to receive your free guide on set and setting to make the most of your next psychedelic journey. Hey, it's April Pride. I'd like to take the moment to remind you that we do discuss cannabis and psychedelics, and this podcast is intended for audiences 21 and over. Also, I am not a medical expert. We do discuss interventions and protocols, and you should consult your medical professional before moving forward with anything that we may discuss here on the show. Hi again, and welcome back. In this episode, we're going to talk about 2 very powerful psychedelic medicines, ayahuasca and DMT. Most people do not know that there is a relationship between ayahuasca and DMT. DMT is one of the compounds that makes ayahuasca psychoactive, but DMT and ayahuasca aren't the same thing. Today, we're going to lay out the differences and similarities between these psychedelics and talk about the unique ways grandmother ayahuasca and the spirit molecule DMT work on our consciousness to expand it. And a quick heads up for our listeners, the recording you're about to listen to has a different sound quality. The psychedelic we're reviewing today has been compared to being fired out of the muzzle of an atomic cannon with neon Byzantine barreling. And for any of our listeners that may have consumed this entheogen, I bet you need no further clues to identify it. And as a reminder, an entheogen is a chemical substance, typically of plant origin, that is ingested to produce non-ordinary state of consciousness for religious or spiritual purposes. But before we get into this jackass-style atomic cannon blast, I have a favor to ask of you. If you're a new listener and you love the show, or you've been loyal each week for nearly a year, please follow, subscribe, and review the High Guide wherever you listen to podcasts. It really does help more people find the show. And while our 3rd season is taking shape, we'd love to hear from you. Please DM us, send us an email, or leave us a voice message on SpeakPipe. The info to get in touch with our show is in this week's episode's show notes. And I'd like to remind all of you that the Entheogen series is a bonus round of episodes we're dropping between seasons. That's right, we're so excited to drop our new season on March 18th, featuring Natasha Lannard as our High Guide, or Psychedelic Integration Facilitator. For Season 3, Natasha will integrate 3 sister trippers or psychonauts as we explore across the arc of the season 2 primary themes that Natasha sees many psychedelic experiences coming back to. And those are separating our soul from our story and our relationship to love. To remind those of you who've listened to the previous bonus episodes on MDMA and LSD, I'm not working with an audio editor. So while I'm going to try to be perfect from start to finish in recording these episodes, I probably won't. So laugh along with my mispronunciations, tripping over words, although I swear I'm not tripping, and probably a few wandering thoughts. And thank you for listening. Our word of the week is DMT, short for dimethyltryptamine. Dimethyltryptamine. Say it fast, 3 times. This is the spirit molecule, and it's one of the most potent psychedelics on the planet, sometimes referred to as the drive-by of psychedelics due to its short duration, which is 5 to 15 minutes. It's also a key ingredient in ayahuasca tea, which is a specific blend of ayahuasca and chacruna to induce significantly longer trips. Whether used in ritualistic, therapeutic, or recreational fashion, DMT side effects include significant distortions of time and space, the revisiting of past lives, and communication with entities and beings not from Earth. I have tried DMT, And I feel like I tried it. I cheated a little bit because I had a vape pen. And while that was something that the people I was with were really excited about because they had done it in the more traditional way, which didn't taste very good. And there were some things that were a little bit inconvenient about it. It still did the trick. And I guess I would recommend it because it was so clean, but this is definitely not how most people have consumed ayahuasca in the past, DMT in the past. I've also consumed ayahuasca as a tea, and they felt, although the effects and the hallucinations, what I was seeing were similar, I definitely felt like DMT and ayahuasca were different for me. So I would love, again, leave a message on SpeakPipe and let us know your experiences with DMT versus an ayahuasca tea. All right. Ayahuasca ceremonies, they're becoming a hot trend here in the 2020s, but they've been occurring for thousands of years throughout the Amazon in religious ceremonies. The medicine has been found to heal PTSD, addiction, depression, and feelings of loss. Various groups around the world are hosting retreats in which individuals can consume ayahuasca tea and expect profound healing. Firstly, is it legal? While the ayahuasca plant itself isn't legal, the main substance, DMT, is considered a Schedule I drug in the U.S., making it illegal to possess and consume aside from some specific regions and religious exemptions.
I want to take a minute to explain a term that might be new to you: whole fruit bodies. Mushrooms have these amazingly intricate underground root networks that are a big part of what make mushrooms magical. The fruiting body is the part of the mushroom we see above ground, the cap, and the stem. And those are the parts that make magical mushrooms magic. For the true romantics who want to experience the purest form of psilocybin, our whole fruit bodies, which are carefully dried and sold by the eighth of an ounce, are the way to go.
Of Like Minds fruit bodies are cultivated and sourced in Seattle, where Of Like Minds is based. It's important to us to work with trusted partners. That's why our whole fruit bodies come from the same guy who helps us create our amazing caramels.
All of our fruit bodies are cultivated and sourced in Seattle, where Of Like Minds is based. It's important for us to work with trusted partners. That's why our whole fruit bodies come from the same guy who helps us create our amazing caramels. Now, let's talk strains. We've got 3 excellent varieties of magic in our whole fruit bodies collection. There's the potent and intriguing Penis Envy, the gentle inviting Hillbilly, and the captivating Ecuador. Each strain offers unique experience, tailored to different preferences and explorations that we write about in depth on our website. We do understand that not everyone wants to chew on a dried mushroom. Maybe you've got a sensitive stomach, or you prefer a different taste profile to dried up dust. So I do want to mention that we also make scrumptious chocolate-covered psilocybin caramels. We make microdose offerings if you're new to the world of psychedelics and just want a more subtle approach. So whether you're seeking the purity of whole fruit bodies or the convenience of taste of an edible, or if you're looking to take baby steps into tripping via microdosing, the Of Like Minds website is a place to go to get started. Explore a range of offerings, read up on the experiences of others, and if you live in Seattle, you can, of course, purchase one of our educational PDF downloads, and as your gift with purchase, you will receive, shipped via third-party carrier, a gift from Of Like Minds to you at your Seattle address. Sign up for the Of Like Minds newsletter and follow us on social media at oflikeminds.co for all the updates to learn all the ways we are all of like minds.
DMT has become a recreational hallucinogenic that is typically smoked, transporting individuals outside of their bodies, into an alternate metaphysical reality within minutes of consumption. Felt more like seconds. What's most interesting is that humans and all mammals produce endogenous DMT. So our bodies have evolved to interact with this chemical. DMT is produced by the brain's pineal gland, aka the third eye, and the seat of the soul, due to its ability to elicit out-of-body experiences. And here are a few trip tips. The effects. As we've said, you're going to have an out-of-body experience, hallucinations, detachment from self, interaction with foreign entities, and distortion of time and space. Okay, so imagine a rainbow of colors and shapes that can only be described as geometric. I mean, I think of all the iconography from the Aztecs. That is exactly what you are living in for a very temporary state. When you consume DMT, I don't know, it's different for everybody, but geometric shapes that are like pulsing with color and sounds that are outside of the reality that you're in, you can kind of remember that there are people or things around you, but you're very much in this place, which is at once the future and very much the past. The dose that's recommended is 25 to 55 milligrams, which is administered via smoking or vaping. Again, because I am new to intentional integrated psychedelic therapy, I have no idea what the doses I've taken are, and it's very rare that most people do. The duration, DMT is shorter lived than ayahuasca, which is about 5 to 8 hours. DMT is like 5 to 15 minutes. And if you take a huge hit and you go really deep, it doesn't mean that you'll be in that state longer. It just means that you will be further away from anyone or anything that is in, I guess, this 3D reality that we live in. All right. And some resources that you can check our show notes to get more information on so that you can learn a little bit more about DMT yourself. Look at the Beckley Foundation's website and their research on DMT. I found this to be the best resource online for both research studies and information about the compound in general. Listen to season 3. Oh no. Listen to season 2 of the High Guide. Natasha Lannard was the facilitator, the High Guide, for integration number 3 with Colton Winger. And we first heard from Natasha actually on an earlier episode that we borrowed audio from McCarter Gets High. I guess she changed the name of her podcast to High Minded with McCarter. And she discussed DMT brilliantly in this episode. So I encourage you to look back in our feed and catch this one as well. I found there are documentaries on Netflix that talk about the bliss molecule, but I wanted to find something that was new to me and that had actual people that had taken it, talking about that had never taken it, they were gearing up to take it, what their integration was like following, and you're going to have to pay for that one. It is a documentary that I found on Prime Video. It cost $9. I now own it. And 3 male friends document their path to smoking frog venom. That's what it also is. So if you're in the throes of an existential crisis, join the club and invest $8.99 on Prime Video. And I can't wait to see the girls' trip version of this. A quote from Natasha's interview on High Minded with McCarter, I think, says a lot about this drug. I said to my friend who I was sitting with, for me, I was like, I'm about to blast off. And that's exactly what happens when you consume DMT.
So in conclusion, neither of these psychedelics are better or worse. Deciding which one you want to work with all depends on what you're looking for. If you want a short, intense trip, or if the idea of throwing up or experiencing other extreme physical symptoms during a psychedelic journey makes you queasy, then DMT might be worth considering. However, DMT is a rocket ship. Experts strongly caution against using it with no prep. High doses of DMT can immobilize you, and some people still vomit on it. DMT trips are very intense, and if the user isn't well prepared, it's possible to traumatize yourself. You really want to have a well-planned set and setting, and you shouldn't do it alone. When it comes to DMT, proceed with caution. Taking ayahuasca, on the other hand, is typically a very facilitated experience that lasts much longer. While still intense, Aya does have the reputation for being somewhat gentler than DMT. So if you're interested in an extended spiritual ritual experience in a retreat-style setting, find an Aya circle you feel is a good fit for you.